Bam! How's it going, guys? Azam Mail here. You know, there's been a question that I've gotten over the years again and again. Most recently, it came from Todd Work. He just sent this email in, and I said I would answer questions, so he took advantage of that. He sent this question in, and Todd basically said, Azam, I don't want to sound like an LC, which is always good. And then he said, Azam, does this stuff really work? And that's the question. Does this stuff really work, Azam? And what people are referring to when they ask about this, for example, is take this stuff here, the how to make $10,000 to $30,000 a month, how to buy and sell companies in real estate with no money down, no credit checks, no loans, eventually without leaving your house, in less than 20 hours a week, all this stuff, and make 10 to 30 grand a month on each deal that you do, all that stuff. The ability to create that kind of income ascension in one's life, even if you are an average, an average person, an average citizen of average intellect, or even below average intellect, is that really possible? Now, obviously, it is possible. People do it all the time. We see the stories, especially in America, all around us. So having a significant social mobility or income ascension and experiencing that in one's life is possible. But the question, does this stuff really work, is such an interesting question, And I'm going to give you the best answer that I know of to that question. But before that, I want to tell you about a 400-pound man that I met. So years ago when I was a real estate agent, which, by the way, I quickly learned as I was a real estate agent that you don't want to broker real estate. And instead of doing that, it's smarter to buy the actual brokerage. Then I realized that instead of doing that, it made more sense to buy and sell the real estate, to become an investor, where you treat real estate as an investment. And then I learned it's better to buy and sell the investment company. That overall theme there, that it's better, instead of doing the actual thing, it's better to buy a company, to buy and sell companies that do that thing, was a big lesson. That's why I'm telling you it now. The ability to make money in real estate, the skill set it takes to do that, and the skill to grow a business that makes money in real estate are two completely different things. And the skill that you'll build by growing a business and that makes money in real estate, that skill is much more profitable and transferable to anything else that you do. In general, instead of buying and selling just a brokerage or buying and selling an investment company, you just want to buy and sell companies in general. That's where the money is. That was the big secret I learned. And the secret to doing that is to learn how to grow companies, because then not only can you buy and sell companies, but you can create and sell them. So instead of buying and selling, you can create and sell, or just create and profit. Either way, my point is that before I was lucky enough to learn all that stuff and the right way to do all this shizzle, I used to go out and look at houses. So one day I got a call from a woman who wanted me to come and look at her house. So I pulled up in the driveway, and before I even got out of my car, I got this really strong smell, a very familiar smell. It was rancid. And as I was walking up to the house, I started to recognize the smell. It was a smell I used to grow up around in India and Pakistan and even Romania. And I was pretty sure of what I was smelling, but I wasn't positive until I knew as I was walking up the driveway, I saw a thick liquid running down the middle of the driveway, and I got closer and closer. And as I did, I got more and more certain that what I was smelling was indeed sewage. Sewage has a very distinct smell. And in poor countries where it's not treated correctly, it lingers in neighborhoods for miles and miles. And I was surprised that here in America, somebody had it running down their driveway like a stream. Like if it wasn't sewage, you would think they paid extra to have that kind of a steady flow of, water going down the driveway. So already before I even walked up to the house, I kind of had an idea of what to expect when I actually got in the house. So as I rang the doorbell, I was kind of bracing myself. So I rang the doorbell, the woman answered the door, and then I walked into the house, and this is what it looked like. This was the layout. There was a couch right here on the left. Then there was a dining room over here, and then there was the kitchen over here. And the woman was standing right here, right across from me, a few feet away from me. And then I was standing right here, right inside the door. And then in between us, on the left-hand side, on that couch, was her husband. And her husband, God bless him, he was at least 400 pounds, at least. And he was watching TV, and the TV was over here. And I have to tell you, this TV was the biggest TV I've ever seen in my life. It was almost the size of the entire wall. It was huge. And the TV was turned up so loud. It was just blaring. It was so loud that as the woman and I were trying to talk, we were standing across from each other, right in front of each other, and we pretty much had to yell at each other in order for us to hear each. We're standing right across from each other, and we didn't hear anything the other one was saying. So we're having to yell louder and louder. I'm like, hi, how are you? She's like, what? I'm like, hi, how are you? She's like, what? I'm like, how are you? What? Never mind. And the whole time the husband was right in front of us, and he never said anything. He wasn't like, oh, hi, how's it going? Do you want me to turn the TV down? No, nothing. He didn't say anything. He just sat there and he watched the TV. He never broke eye contact with the TV the whole time that we were talking. And also, the house was completely dark. Even though it was a bright, sunny afternoon outside, the inside of the house was totally dark. All the curtains were closed. There were no lights on, so the only light coming was, the only light that was on, or the only light that was going anywhere in the house was the light from the TV. So if you were in the house, you had no idea if it was day or night, winter, summer, you had no idea. It's like walking into a strip club, I'm told. So the woman excused herself, and then she went to go get something. I honestly have no idea what she was doing, because when she told me, I didn't hear anything because of the TV. So she walked out of the room, and then it was just me and the husband. She left me there with him. And so he's sitting there watching TV, and he still hasn't looked at me, hasn't broken eye contact with the TV. So I'm kind of, I'm just standing there, it's kind of awkward, and I'm looking for something to make conversation about. So I looked at him for a second, and then I looked at the couch. And on the couch, he had a couple of things on the couch there with him that I have never seen on a couch. So he was sitting right here, kind of in the center, but a little off the center. And then right next to him was a microwave. And the microwave was actually plugged in and everything. And then on top of it and all around the microwave were small cheeseburgers. And I don't mean just a few. I mean like there were a few boxes of cheeseburgers. And there's half-eaten ones all over the couch. He had one in his hand. And then on the other side of him was the biggest, craziest bucket of ice cream that I've ever seen. It hardly even qualified as a bucket. It was like one size down from a barrel. This thing was huge. And it's kind of awkward to just see it, just this big thing of ice cream just sitting there with the top off. But then jammed in the top of it was a spatula, like the things you cook with. Not like a spoon, not like a big spoon, like an actual spatula. So that's what he was, that's what he was eating the ice cream with. Now, on top of that, right in front of him was an open 2-liter of Mountain Dew. There was another one of Coke, and then all over the ground were empty 2-liters. All around him, all over the ground were empty 2-liters all over the place. Now, I'm not saying this to judge him. I'm not, just wait till I finish. I'm not judging him or anything like that. That's not why I'm saying all this. And I used to be fat. Remember, I used to be fat. I know that lifestyle. I was that lifestyle. So I'm not saying this to poke fun. I just want to make the situation I want to make the scene totally clear to you. So just picture all that. A pitch black house, a giant movie theater screen size TV over here, a 400-pound guy who has a microwave next to him on a couch so he can make cheeseburgers without getting up, drinking 2 liters of soda and eating ice cream out of a bucket with a spatula. Just get that, get that whole scene in your mind. Keep that in mind as I tell you one last thing. As I looked at him, I looked down, and in between his legs was a Thigh Master. You probably remember those from the Suzanne Summers infomercials. She's the actress from Three's Company and Step by Step and some other stuff. She made those infomercials years ago with this piece of exercise equipment, a Thigh Master. It was made to help you lose weight and tone your thighs and butt. And actually one of our APs, Paul Webb, one of our students, was one of the producers of that infomercial. So it's a fun fact there. But this infomercial is a pretty popular thing. Portable little exercise gizmo, and it sold a lot. It sold really well. And whenever I think of the Thigh Master, what I remember most about the Thigh Master, first I remember this guy with the Thigh Master on, but the second thing I remember is an old Saturday Night Live skit where it showed Suzanne Summers. It wasn't really her, it was some actress, and she's at her house and she's showing off how strong her legs had become from using the Thigh Master, and it shows her just putting random things between her legs and squeezing them together and turning basically everything into a pancake. So all around her house she has these flattened books, flattened beer cans, flattened computer monitors because she's so strong, and whenever she puts anything between her legs it gets flattened. So then there's a knock at the door and her husband walks in and his head was flattened. That's terrible. Okay, anyway, back to this guy. He had this Thigh Master on while he's on the couch eating and watching TV, right? Now, he wasn't actually using the Thigh Master. He just had it in the position where each side of it was touching his knees. He wasn't actually using it. It almost looked like it was stuck or something. It was just a bizarre thing. The whole thing was actually bizarre, just a weird situation. And remember, I'm seeing this after the woman left me in the room with him. So I was looking at him and it was awkward, it's just we're both there alone. I always try to build rapport with the owners of a house. So I didn't want to just stand there. I want to make conversation. So as I was looking at him and I was looking at the couch and the floor and the TV, and as I was looking at everything, and then I saw the Thigh Master, I thought it was kind of funny. So I pointed to the Thigh Master and I said, "How's that working out for you?" And I wasn't saying it to be funny. I just wanted to, I want to pick something to talk about, and I didn't want to ask about his diet or why the whole house was a mess. I just want to point to something positive. So I asked him if he was enjoying the Thigh Master. That was the most promising thing in the room, that there was, at least some attempt at exercise. So after I asked him that, for the first time he broke eye contact with the TV. Remember, this whole time he's just staring at the TV. He broke eye contact with the TV. He looked down at the Thigh Master. He grabbed it. And oh wait, I forgot to say one thing. Okay, so I remember I told you that there was a table over here. Well, next to the table was a big chest, like a bedroom furniture chest with jars and stuff. And it had a mirror. Even had a mirror. And it was weird because this thing was right next to the table. I don't know why bedroom furniture would be next to the dining room table. That's just the way they had it. I guess I guess that's what they call a first world problem. It was weird. Although it is a weird thing for that to be next to the dining room, or next to where the people eat, next, the dining room, the kitchen, then this bedroom chest. It was weird, but for some reason in that house and just the way it was, it just seemed somewhat appropriate. I don't know. It wasn't as weird as it sounds. Now, on the bedroom chest, there were a whole bunch of boxes just all over the chest. And on top of the boxes, there was a cat. And this cat, holy moly, this cat was enormous. I mean, it was basically in the same physical condition as the guy. This cat, made Garfield look anorexic. So there's this cat sitting there, this giant fat cat sitting there on top of these boxes. He had one of his legs dangling off the stack of boxes. His head was rested against his left leg, and he was just sitting there motionless. If his eyes weren't open, you would think he was dead. And he wasn't very excited about anything, didn't seem to mind that I was there. He was just kind of hanging out over there. Okay, so I had to say that. I had to add that to the scene. There's this motionless cat over there in the corner on top of these boxes on the chest next to the dining room table. Okay, picture that over there in this part of the room. So So back to the guy. I asked him about the thigh master. He looked down, he grabbed the thigh master, and then he, in the most ungraceful way, like he was, upset over the amount of effort that it took, he threw the thigh master across the room. Yes, he threw it right at the chest, right at the boxes, and right at the cat. Now, thankfully, he did not hit the cat. He just missed the cat. And this was before I was an animal lover, so I wouldn't have minded as much, honestly, at the time if he did hit the cat, but I wouldn't have minded as much then as I would now. But I just want to make that clear. He did not hit the cat, but it was really close. He barely missed the cat. He hit the mirror right behind the cat, but the crazy part is that the cat never moved. Didn't even flinch. Almost like he's just sitting there like, please let this hit me and put me out of my misery. I mean, the cat was just motionless the whole time. But he did miss the cat. And after throwing this thigh master across the room at the cat/mirror, he said something. And this is the whole reason I'm bringing this up for you right now. After he threw the thigh master across the room, he set his eyes back on the TV and he said, none of that shit works. What an amazing thing to say, right? Especially when you consider the entirety of the situation. And when he threw the thigh master, he knocked a bunch of the boxes down on the ground. Not the ones that the cat was on, thankfully, but a lot of the other ones. And when I looked closer, I could see that all those boxes were all boxes of different exercise equipment. All manner of lose weight fast without doing anything, all that type of stuff. He had bought any and everything that came across the TV. And then when he was done, when he would quit, he'd toss it into this pile of stuff that, in his mind at least, just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Now, I want to stop for a second to point out a compliance move. Whenever you recount an experience or a story, you should always make yourself the butt of the joke, the source of the ignorance, the one to be laughed at. That kind of self-deprecation is disarming, it helps humanize you, and it builds rapport, partly because you avoid looking like you're overtly bragging. Now, in this example so far, it's easy to look down or laugh at the man on the couch because it's easy to feel superior to him. But are we really that much different than him? Substitute the lose weight fast stuff that he bought with all the get-rich-quick stuff that other people buy every day. Substitute his lack of diet and exercise with the lack of execution and taking action of the wealthy wannabes, and it becomes much harder to laugh at the guy on the couch. Every single day, year after year, people buy books and courses on how to make money only to later conclude that it doesn't work. And in many cases, the training is inferior, outdated, or ineffective. And when it comes to this, I will give the LC some latitude here, because when you closely look at most informal education, or even worse, the educators, and I'm including real estate gurus, internet marketing guys, including all those people in this group, yes, I would agree, a lot of them, kind of suck. That being said, the fact is that informal education is about the only chance people like you and I have for social mobility. And in the world of informal education, while we're talking about it, by the way, we can include a formal education when you consider that our training, the training that my friends and I have, anywhere you can look anywhere in the world, there is no single place on the planet where there is training that has been tested under more diverse and rigorous conditions and that has produced a higher success rate. Remember, it's important to remember that. Nothing has done that better than our stuff. From child slaves in the Middle East to soccer moms in Michigan, we have a range of people going out and creating income ascension for themselves and the people they care about. There's no question about the effectiveness of my stuff or the success rate people have. So introducing a question like, does it work, as if there is any question regarding it, really is a sign of intellectual, or at the very best, voluntary laziness. Spending just a few seconds of research would answer that question. On the other hand, for the folks not as familiar with my stuff, who are spinning their wheels with bad training, I understand your situation. But for many people, it wouldn't matter. They are generally people who will take guidance and informal education. They'll combine a minimal effort with an eagerness to quit, and when that formula results in inevitable failure, they'll blame outside factors. This happens every single day, and it happens more often than not. The mantra of the LC, it's not my fault. So when they ask, does this work? It's another way of asking, when I quit, who or what else can I blame except for myself? So when people ask me if this stuff really works, I always picture a 400-pound man on a couch with a giant TV, playing at a deafening volume level, eating cheeseburgers from the microwave he has next to him on the couch so he doesn't have to get up, while also using a spatula to shove balls of ice cream in his mouth out of a bucket, washing it all down with 2 liters of soda. But to cancel all of that out, he has a thigh master between his legs. He's not actually using it, but he has it between his legs. And when he eats himself to sleep, he wants to wake up looking like a Terminator. And if he doesn't, he blames the thigh master. That's the picture I have when people ask me, Azam, does this stuff really work? No, it doesn't. It does not work. It's like looking at a map. You can see the destination and exactly how to get there. But if you do not move, you will not go anywhere. You have to move. It does not work. And using that phrase does put the burden on the it and not on the student. With the guy on the couch, the amount of changes that he needs to make in his life are as numerous and dramatic as they are obvious. And the more you have to explain that to him, the more hopeless he is. Most people fail to make a major change in their life because they start the journey with the baggage of pre-packed excuses. The entire time they're begging for an exit. Their attitude creates the very situation that they will later blame for not reaching their goal. To these people, to the masses, for nearly everybody, and I've said this many, many times, for most people, my stuff will not work for you. You won't do the necessary work to bring your vision to reality. This is especially true in America, where we have been so spoiled. Only in America is opportunity knocking so loudly that we complain about the noise. We are so immersed in opportunity that we think we're drowning. We've been given so much that we think we deserve it. We've lived in this amusement park for so long that we think it's the real world. We've been elevated so high that we think we're standing on the ground. We're not. The world doesn't owe us. We owe the world. The people that have been given the most should give the most. We are supposed to show the world the best of humanity, how ordinary people can create the extraordinary, how far human potential can be stretched. The problem too often is that people bring to the table a compromised level of willpower. I've seen this happen for years and years and years and years. Somebody wants to get into real estate, or they want to get into business. They really want to change their income class. They really want to have social mobility. They really want to build a fortress of financial security. They really want it. They want it for themselves and for the people they care about. They start off with good intentions, but then as soon as the smallest sign of trouble comes up, and it will always come up, by the way, as soon as that happens, they just quit. Somebody makes a few phone calls, and if they don't get rich, they quit. Somebody puts out a few signs, and as soon as they get torn down, they just quit. Someone talks to an agent who says, oh, what you're doing doesn't work in this area, and the would-be investor just quits. Somebody goes out and talks to their in-laws who tell them, oh, none of that stuff works, and they just quit. And all those people are right. If that is the level of intensity that you bring to the table, then they're all right. This will not work for you. You should just quit. Nothing works or doesn't work. It's up to the student. Now, I've made all sorts of other classes on this, so I won't get into all this right now, but you should know there are some real important classes you should go through. One is on the secret to being a badass. You want to make sure you go through that. You also want to go to the class on the devil's greatest tool. And you also definitely want to go to WeBuildEmpires.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, go to the essay page, and then watch the essay class. All those classes are free. People are reporting back. They're doing amazing stuff with these classes. They're going through them and going out and executing and doing wonderful things. So please go through them. It'll help reinforce everything I'm saying. Don't let somebody else's excuse become your own. You know what I mean? Get more resilient, man. Take your role in the world more seriously. When you take a look at our stuff, with my stuff, it's true. You bring 20 hours a week of obsession, the right attitude and the right focus, and you will build your business. By buying and selling real estate in companies, zero down, all that stuff that I've talked about, you will get your income to 10 to 30 grand a month on each deal that you do. We want to do several deals because just getting your income up to 10, 30 grand a month, that should be just the start. You should want to do a lot more, to give more, be more, to become an SA. You should buy back your time, and then after you buy back your time and you don't have to do things for money, you should want and actually desire to spend more time working and doing what you're supposed to be doing, helping others through social mobility. You should give more, not less. That's what my stuff is all about, and it's why this application process that we put in place there is so that we take it real seriously. I don't want LCs because my stuff won't work for them. You should want to change the world, to be an SA, to paint the world in the color that you want to see more of. That's what I'm talking about. You know, earlier I violated a rule and I took the risk of making it seem like I'm making fun of a fat guy, right? I'm not. In fact, as you guys know, I lost 100 pounds in 90 days and then I started helping other people do that. It seems impressive, 100 pounds in 90 days, right? Well, that guy on the couch, TJ, he's one of my best stories. He lost over 115 pounds in 90 days. So not only does his story have a happy ending, and that is important to know, but what's much more important is that for TJ, he actually, in order for him to make a real change, his whole life had to change. His diet, his exercise, everything he did, he started taking it much more seriously. And once he got that it wasn't just a little change. It was, TJ had to change his whole life. Once he got that and he took it seriously, he was able to make a real difference. And now he helps other people see the light too. But it's important to know the dramatic, the level, the caliber, the gravity of the change that you need to embrace and that you need to invite into your life. If you're on the wrong airplane, it doesn't help to run in the right direction. When you get it right, you'll know you're doing God's work. One of the biggest problems, not just in America but across the world, is that nobody ever blames themselves. They never say, it's my fault. They're always looking for somebody else to blame, something else to blame. And as long as you blame somebody else, you'll never get anywhere, you'll never get any better because you don't think it'll matter. It wouldn't matter how good you were because it wasn't your fault. It has to be your fault. When people ask if this stuff works, look at the language. They're putting the burden on the it or on the stuff, not on themselves. The real question they should ask is, do I work? You won't get anywhere by pointing fingers and having complicated reasons why you didn't accomplish your goals. The shortest answers that require the least amount of imagination, the ones that point to your own shortcomings, those are the answers that matter. Those are the best answers and the only answers that'll get you anywhere. Get obsessed, you guys. Get crazy. We'll all end up dead one day, but your life's work can live on if you make the right choices between now and then. I want you guys to invest wholly and completely in each day, realizing that your whole life is nothing but a collection of those days. Make today filled with purpose every day, and your life has purpose. Live on purpose. Don't avoid the pain that comes with accomplishment. Invite it. Embrace it. Admit that that you're looking for a shortcut. You're not trying to go to medical school for 15 years. And those people are about the only people that will see the kind of income ascension and mobility that we talk about. You are trying to find a shortcut, and you don't want to wait the 150 to 200 years that your family generally has on average before you can climb that income ladder. And you'll learn more about that in the essay class, by the way. It's why you should go through it. But you don't want to do that. You are looking for a shortcut. And remember, by definition, a shortcut is harder, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be a shortcut. It would just be the way, that everybody took. Have gratitude about the difficulty, because it filters out the weak-minded. It qualifies the masses. It ensures that almost nobody will ever do it. It allows you to answer the question of which group are you in. You can answer that question for yourself on your own terms. Are you an SA, or are you just another statistic? Be thankful that you have the opportunity to make that choice. And thank your lucky stars that you get to go through that transformation. Pain is forever married to revolution. Any kind of revolution, personal or otherwise. Find the pain, chase the pain, love the pain. It's the chisel that builds pioneers. There's a reason I'm in your life and you in mine. Everything happens for a reason. You're meant for greatness. You want to set the world on fire. Those are the people that I attract. You have that built in you. We just have to reveal it. Awesome, does this stuff really work? You guys should scoff at that, right? Scoff at that, man. Saying awesome, does this stuff really work is the same as saying awesome. In case I don't have enough excuses to quit, can you give me some more? Come on, you guys are better than this, right? Much better than this. A student, a good friend of ours, sent me a great quote. It said that hell is on the day that you die. The person that you did become meets the person that you could have become. That's good, isn't it? It's not too late to feel better about that meeting. So many people suck, and they choose to suck, and yet they want to hire a badass. They want to build their team with performers. That kind of inverse commitment never lasts, and it shouldn't. Lead by example. Be what you seek. The secret of gaining compliance is to first gain compliance from yourself. Do what you want to do before you expect others to. Be thankful that you can create these ripples, and you can get to go through the pain that it takes. Don't be an LC who's proactively eager to blame anything else that he starts off a journey with quitting in the back of his mind. Does this stuff really work? It's another way of asking, can I quit now, please? Be better than that, you guys. Alright, 3 takeaways here. Does this stuff work? Azam is not a valid question when it comes to my stuff. When you look at it just a little bit, when you look into this just a little bit, you'll see this long track record, this history of student performance hitting exactly what I say, the 10 to 30K and well beyond. So this really is a proactive excuse disguised as a question, which brings us to number 2. This is about a lot more than just making money. This is about dreaming bigger and making those dreams a reality and blessing your work with the gift of obsession. You should do something that makes you eager to give more of yourself, not less. And number 3, if I'm describing you or the way that you want to be, then for the right person, having me by your side and personally training you is not an expensive cost, but a bargain investment, an investment in your life. Go to WeBuildEmpires.com, scroll to the bottom, watch the essay class, and if you're sure that you're ready to join the ranks, then apply when applications are being accepted. I'll see you there, guys. Also, finally, remember this. A leader doesn't convince people of his brilliance, he convinces them of theirs. If you don't find genius in the next person you talk to, you won't find it in anybody you ever talk to. Become a master of raising expectations people have about themselves. When you master this skill, when you don't treat people as they are, but you treat them as they can be, you will always have an army of loyal soldiers at your call. Alright guys, WeBuildEmpires.com, when applications are being accepted, that's where you want to go. Alright, always appreciate the feedback, and I hope that helps, Todd. Take care, guys. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Thanks.